Welcome to another episode of Tomorrow, and today we're talking about the perfect picture, and I have the perfect person to be speaking about the perfect picture with, and that's Kelechi Amadi-Obi. So Kelechi, thanks for coming. We're talking about the perfect picture today, and I think there's just so many things to talk about. I'm just thinking, will we have enough time in 45 minutes to talk about it? But I just want to start by, from my own experience.
Yes.
I remember, like, when I started taking pictures, I think I was like 11 or 12 in school.
Yes.
And it was, of course, a manual.
Yes.
And so you had these Kodak cameras, right? And then everything was deliberate then.
Yes.
So you have to think, okay, I want to buy camera film. Am I going to buy 12, 24, 36?
Exactly.
And then if I'm going to buy 12, okay, where am I shooting? Am I going to buy 100 ISO, 100, 200, 400, or 800?
800, exactly.
And then, because this is a bloody expensive, those things, right? So it's like you have 36. So like when you're taking your picture, right, you are being deliberate.
Yes.
So it takes time. And you just also go,
no, there's
136.
There's a consequence for each click.
Thank you, because you have to process. And so when you're saying for processing, it takes time if it's commercial. But if, like, I had the privilege of doing like developing.
Yes.
And that one is time as well.
Then you have to develop your film.
You have to develop your film.
Then go to the dark room and start.
So, like, at that time, it's like, in fact, you were looking for the perfect picture every time. You were trying to take the perfect picture because you know that you didn't want to, like, and then you, after like waiting eagerly for your films, then you just see, like, you expose the camera. So you take the picture. So everything was deliberate. But today it's completely different. And I think technology has played a big role.
Oh, yeah.
And it's continued to play a big role in what the perfect picture is. So, I mean, I don't know what your yesterday was, but before so like for you, and this is me as a consumer, and so like your perspective, right, is going to be completely different as to taking pictures then and like now, and like how is that? I mean, how is yesterday and today for you?
It's been quite a journey, when I got into photography seriously, I would say the year 2000. That was when I seriously said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do this. At that time, we were still shooting film, and I noticed that a change was also happening. You see, the QSS machine had just come in.
What's the QSS machine?
It's this machine that mass develops film.
Okay.
So you go to the lab. So you had your neighborhood lab where you would take your 35 millimeter film. They process it for you, give you your film, get you contact sheets, which is this little thing showing you what is on your film. And then you select the images you want to print, and they will print it for you. Now, that was a revolution.
I can imagine.
Of its time. Before then, photography was a closed shop. What I mean is, the photographer was the person that developed the film. He had his enlarger to enlarge print, So nobody could mess with the photographer. He owned the entire chain of production, sort of. So when the QSS machine came and the 35 millimeter became rampant, smaller cameras, more people who didn't know anything about developing film started calling themselves photographers. The camera started having more automatic mode, the AV and all that. And then they had the P mode, which is complete auto. But I noticed that a lot of the studios, the old studios, started closing down. They could not hack the change. So something strange was happening in the market, because when I got in, I got excited. I started buying professional cameras, medium format cameras.
Medium format cameras?
Yes, go to Aroloya to go and buy RZ67, Mamiya. It's mad medium format, very professional. You see the Tokumbo one there, not so expensive, clean,
Well, because everyone is going out of business, so you saw it as an opportunity.
They were going out of business.
Yes, because,
It turns out Japanese were flying to Lagos to come and buy up those old cameras.
Are you serious?
They were too expensive in Japan, even in the US.
because people didn't see the opportunity.
The old studios were closing.
Mm-hmm.
The cameras, their cameras were still very valuable.
Of course.
They were selling them for a pittance. So while we were coming in, they were on their way out. Those who couldn't sort of adapt to the change,
Yeah.
And by the time we got into our film photography, well, people like us got into photography as fine art photographers.
I was going to say, Kelechi, because you're not your photography is not your first.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of being a painter.
Yes.
And I was already a successful painter in the year 2000. Yeah. So I was making a living by selling my paintings because I'd broken into the art market by then. So painting was sponsoring my photography. It became my serious hobby, and so I could buy all these cameras and stuff and experiment. And by the time I started taking photography more seriously, another seismic change came. Digital camera came into the horizon. At first, it was 2 megapixel cameras, 4, 5 megapixel cameras. It was laughable to us. We said, this is a joke. I mean, we had our digital images, but our digital images came as a result of drum scanning our medium format film. When I was shooting advertising, we used to shoot positive film, medium format. Then you take it to a scanner, they scan it and get a maybe, I don't know, 20 MB or something like that. And to us, that was huge.
Massive.
Yeah, that was a massive file that could crash your computer of those days. They were using floppy disks.
Floppy disks, exactly. Remember. And those floppy disks were actually small.
Very small.
Like, you get excited, 1 MB floppy disk.
So at the end of the day, when the digital came, we all turned our nose up at it.
Yeah.
I turned my nose up at it, and this is a joke.
But that's what got me excited about taking pictures again.
Yes.
Because before that, I was just thinking
the whole process.
I didn't have time. I started my job, my work, and everything. And the camera phones were just a joke then, right? And so then when the digital SLRs came out, correct. Now I can, because the whole process has just been shortened. Like
we had to lose one bathroom in the house because it converted the bathroom to your
exactly.
And the half of my freezer was full of film. My wife for about 10 years was like, can't we? What is going on here? We need more space for our meat.
I know, and you're right, because when you think about it, like even today, I take lots of pictures.
Yes.
And then I just leave. I don't have to process them now.
That is it.
It's for later. Exactly. And so in those days, you will just keep those films and just label them, just knowing that exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we order for film, ship it to Nigeria, keep a stock, and stuff like that. So when the digital started moving from 10 megapixel and it got to 12, I remember when Kodak had a 12 megapixel camera. Everybody went mad. 12 megapixel, how possible is that? I mean, my whole early career with digital cameras with a 6 megapixel camera and shooting all those my fashion stuff with a 6 megapixel camera. When the 12 megapixel camera came in, I was like, wow. So what ended up happening was that these things started progressing exponentially. Computers became more powerful.
Yeah.
The digital files started getting heavier, and then came the ultimate bomb. Then now Canon, I think, put video capabilities into the camera. Then all of us had to become videographers.
Photographers, and videographers.
Well, iPhone was still trying to, and the rest of the people had funny cameras up in there. Yeah. Then gradually, their cameras also took over from, we used to have point and shoot cameras in those days.
I remember. Yeah. I remember.
Those point and shoot cameras are automatic with a single lens.
Exactly. You don't have to do anything. Everything auto.
That was for the amateurs. But the phone took that over.
Yes.
So
in fact, the phone killed that. The phone killed Kodak as well.
Yes, it killed Kodak.
Yeah, killed Kodak. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, all these things were happening fast. And as we speak today, it's gone into AI.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we even go into that, so like this thing back yesterday, you were talking about painting.
Yes.
Right? And when I think about, in the Victorian times, it's like we're coming full circle, right?
Oh,
yes. So when I think about Victorian times, and I see all these these movies or series where people used to paint themselves.
Yes.
So when they're going out for dinner or going out to a ball, the men would wear a wig. They will paint. They will they will have lots of paint on them.
Yes.
And you couldn't come back. You couldn't come as yourself.
Exactly.
And you couldn't come as yourself. And so, and those men were captured by drawings.
Oh yeah.
And today, I especially at home when I see like people are going for O1 bear. Before, I remember not a few years ago, it was just you just do basic makeup.
Exactly.
Now, people
No, it's full face beating.
full face, and it's becoming a
Professional
normal.
makeup artist.
Exactly. So like, in fact, I think people spend maybe 3 hours doing makeup and then 1 hour in the event.
Yes.
And the most important thing is that you're capturing. They're all capturing the whole process.
Oh yes.
So before you go, you capture the process. When you're there, you capture. When after you go,
It's
you
a completely different.
completely. And so it's like. And it took me a while to realize, okay, this is what used to be done before. People actually, it's an event.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going. What is the theme? If it's green, if the theme is green, my makeup
Exactly.
or my accessories are going to be has to flow. It's now acceptable before. I'm sure a few years ago, my mother's time will probably think that this person coming as a masquerade. But now it's just like
and then no.
It's a norm. I mean, like, that is also. I think that's also fueling that whole. I mean, like when we think about that, that's fueling a lot of photography, right? And because is it photography? Or is it just capturing moments and data? Because and of course, the phone has done a fantastic thing. You just wake up in the morning and just say 3 years ago. I see a picture.
Exactly.
The picture like
it's
that.
Really documenting everything. And the way they archive these things and the way my phone just wakes up in the morning and brings something from 20 years ago. And even makes a whole montage of it with music and all that. It's a completely different world.
I know. I just think like even today, like I mean, like me, I'm just taking my pictures. Like it's a great hobby. In fact, for me, I think photography helps me to see different perspectives, right? So I see a glass of wine somewhere. I take that picture, the background, the view, everything, and for me, just it's helping me see the world in different perspective.
Yes.
It's also helping me to. It's a hobby to escape
something. It's an escape.
It's an escape for me, and also to use new tools, right? And sometimes like I like to sometimes I just think once in a while I used to like to polish my shoe myself the good old way. You have those auto shine.
Exactly.
And then, I just want to get my wax, my black wax,
and do that.
And do that. And so there's that intersection today where we're coming back to it's like you have AI today, right? So like I can go like I use Adobe Lightroom now, and so I take a picture with my camera manual, but then I can just say like I'll just go and say auto. You want it to auto do for you, but you want to actually do things yourself.
No, the thing with what is happening now,
you don't want your brain to dull.
No, what is happening now is interesting, and it's a shift. It's a very strong shift. Before, if I was on Pinterest and I saw a particular kind of maybe Ethiopian face, perfect in its proportions, black as night, and just beautiful beyond measure, I would linger on it and say, wow, what genes put this beauty together?
Yeah.
Now, if I see that face, I'll be like, please, next.
because
because there are too many of them. The algorithm has calculated the perfect face in so many different ways and has spat it out, and it has become common. Now, I'm now looking for the imperfections.
But let me ask a question. But isn't that what you do? You somebody comes to your studio and what they want is perfection.
Yes.
They want the best side of them. In fact, so like they want they want what they have on Snapchat or Instagram, which is that filter of their face. But they want to do that now on a higher level. So they want you to filter out the bad and give them that perfect
people
of themselves.
People have fantasies. You see, a lot of times, I mean, we tell stories, but the stories we tell are fiction. They are not true stories. They are not, so it's fiction. It's a fantasy. It's a make-believe. And those are dreams that people want to, like somebody wants to visualize themselves as Alice in Wonderland
Yes.
or Superman
Right.
or something, and we create that story, we create that fantasy, we make it a visual reality.
But it's good now because I remember, one story that you told me once, and I never forget, is that people take pictures. Like the problem with some of the African stories, especially from a Nigerian perspective, is that we take pictures of the negative side of Nigeria,
Yes.
and so that's how the world sees you.
Yes.
And these are pictures taken by Nigerians, not by
Yes.
foreigners.
Yes.
But meanwhile, there are bad places in London, right?
yeah.
But you don't see that being celebrated by people.
Yes.
it is actually hidden, right? It's actually hidden, and so that's why I remember that when you said that you're going to go around Nigeria and take pictures
Exactly.
of wonderful things. But that's wonderful.
I believe that perception is reality.
Yeah.
The way you perceive the world is your reality. If a large group of people have a particular perception, then it becomes the general reality of that society. So if you have a society plagued with pessimism, negative perception of self, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What do they call it? Bias.
Subconscious bias.
Yes.
Subconscious bias. Yes, exactly.
So you start to only see that which you believe. You understand? And ignore the rest.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that completely strangles creativity, strangles movement forward. But there are also the opposite of it, where your perception is that the cup is half full, not half empty. If the guy sees the cup is half empty, I better drink that water quickly before another person will come and empty it. Before you know it, they'll say there's no water.
Yeah.
And that guy says, this cup is half full. Let me put more water in case anybody else wants to drink. And that person says, oh, it's almost full. Let's put more water.
Yeah.
And they start to build. Yeah. So when we have that, so I realized that sometimes most of the most powerful things about human beings, somebody said, is that we collaborate in large quantities, human beings.
Yeah.
That is what makes us the most dangerous animal on earth. And what makes us collaborate in large quantities is the stories that we are told, the stories we believe. And those stories form our perception of our reality. And that perception becomes our reality.
Yes.
If it is excessively negative, then it's a negative society.
Yeah.
If it is positive, then it's a positive society. And I've looked at it and I find that those stories determine everything. What I mean is, it determines whether we're going to be at war with our neighbors, determines whether we're going to produce or not produce, determines whether we're going to invest or not invest. And image makers are at the center of this storytelling. Movies, this, and most of all, politicians.
Yeah, I bet you.
The advertisers and everything. We are part of that clock. And what I've seen is that there has been a very well-crafted, deliberate machination at letting us discard our own story and follow another story. Yeah. For instance, somebody says, well, you're not really a human being. You're a savage. This river that is in front of you, I do not recognize you as a human being to have used this river. I only recognize this man called Mungo Park.
Yeah.
He's a human being. He's the first human being to discover River Niger. How about the people that were living there? No, they're savages. They're not.
Exactly.
And then you proceed to teach that in school, to those people you are calling savages. And they will recite it in order to pass exams. And then tell them that their language is vernacular. Their gods and their worship is animist. And that their gene is illicit gene. And then you back it up with imagery. And then you say they are not capable of governing themselves. Look, there is poverty and strife everywhere. They are telling a particular story, and they get those people to perceive it as their reality. Because I see a lot of well-educated Africans. You ask them, you say, oh, there's something wrong with the African. I say, have you checked your history? Have you checked what we have achieved? Have you checked the people that invented mathematics, astrology, the people that built the pyramids, the people that, at the point, the richest man in the world was from Timbuktu. It was when is it Mansa Musa went to the west with some of his gold. Everybody went bonkers. And they came down here to cause us more trouble as far as we're trying to steal the gold.
So, like, in fact, as we're talking, the perfect picture is just more than people. It's about a society.
Oh, yes.
It's about even what you see about a place.
Yes.
And the people make the place, the environment, the infrastructure.
Exactly.
And the story that's selling to you. And the only way you can sell a story is by mouth or by sight. And sight is very powerful.
Very powerful.
Very powerful. That's why photography is very, very powerful. Yeah. It's a very, very powerful tool for propaganda, as far as I'm concerned.
All art is propaganda. Question is if you are consciously propagating it.
Yes.
Or you're unconscious. Yes. Look, at the beginning of my photography, I started finding a lot of attention coming from the West. And it was very overt, and it was very deliberate, and it was aggressive. For instance, the first ever photography competition I saw in the papers was sponsored by World Bank. And guess what the topic was? Poverty. I said, World Bank. The World Bank is telling me to make pictures about poverty.
About poor people. In fact,
I'm blessed. So I took my picture, ignored all my real surroundings and my own life that I'm living.
Exactly.
Entered Makoko. I started floating around.
To validate a story they want to actually.
The most beautiful poverty that I could render. Do you understand?
That's such an amazing story.
Now,
that's real propaganda, as what the God said.
I was like, whoa, if you make these pictures of poverty, you will win money. I was like, I have to prove myself to these people who have told me to make pictures of poverty. So I left my reality and went inside of the worst within my society, the suffering. And Makoko provided a beautiful tapestry of poverty, multiplied by reflections of the water.
It's funny. It's cool. So you tell that Makoko story, because I had, and it's all about perspective again.
Yes.
An artist that went there said that those people will not live there for the world. They like that. They're happy. They're happy. But to the outsider, they will just think, my God,
yes,
how did they live?
Yes.
How did they do this? So this is terrible. And they said, this country needs help.
So at the end of the day, in fact, I won some money from that. So I used it to buy a camera. So I was now encouraged to shoot more poverty. It's like, to get the attention of the world. Real art is documentary photography. Let's find the most beauty. So I started taking this kind of photographs. But in hindsight, after a while, I started getting invited to all these exhibitions in Europe. First time I was invited to Milan. In there abroad.
They have abroad.
Incredible, And they're like, oh, this is really nice. And then went to London. Then one day, one of those trips, I'm like, what is going on here? Who are all these people? Who is sponsoring all these trips? So they took us to one of the benefactors, multi-billionaire art collector. Looked around, listening to them a little bit. Inside my head, I said, this is wrong. This man is living in opulence. He's living the life. Why is he sponsoring me, showing the worst of my environment? So I started to do a sort of mind experiment, the sort of thing Einstein would do. So who are their own best photographers? Who are the most respected photographers in Europe? And some names started popping up. People like Annie Leibovitz, Mario Testino, Harabritz, Mapotop, Peter Beard, Nick Knight. These are top fashion photographers, people who were shooting for Vogue, shooting for, Rolling Stone, shooting for Vanity Fair, and portrait artists for Time magazine.
Yeah.
So I said, what are they shooting? What are they showing in their pictures? And I started to see those covers of Vogue, see those fashion editorials, and the covers in, the Met Gala and all those kind of things. And I said, look, these people are shooting fantasies. They're shooting dreams of worlds that could be. You see, that picture of Beyonce on the cover of Vogue, the hair she has on is not hers. The skin is not hers. There's a layer of makeup on it by a makeup artist. The clothes she's wearing was supplied by a stylist. They don't belong to her. That private jet she's inside is not her private jet. So when she leaves that photo shoot, she leaves those things behind. They were all machinations by a storyteller who is telling a fictitious story of a fantasy.
Or a destination.
That's what I'm saying.
Or a destination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they are paying top dollar to show the best possibilities for their people to dream, while they pay
the perfect picture.
NGO money for us to show the worst.
The worst.
It's a handing over of the Mungo Park story.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but this time we are the ones telling the story.
We are in control. And I think that's what technology has done. It has actually put, and when I think of technology,
yes,
everyone can tell their own story now.
Yes.
Everyone can tell it, but once you have, and that's why I love Steve Jobs. I think he's one of the greatest people in the world because he gave everyone the power.
Yes.
Right? To control their own destiny.
I know.
Yeah. And so I know, when I think of even the business that I'm in, which is financial services, and you have many banks, you have many banks everywhere, and then I start Sparkle, and I'm thinking to myself once in a while, and I think, why do you think you're going to do things differently, right? In this world of where you can buy all the technology, you can, and anybody can do that. If anybody can start a business today, it's easy. It's easy.
Oh,
so, but for me, I just think that my story is different, right? And I see, especially in this, I see that my business is evolving.
Yes.
And my business is evolving because the market is evolving.
Oh, yes.
And then the customer is also
evolving.
It's evolving as well. And so, I think, so before, in my own time, everything was reading. We just reading, right?
I know.
Today, now it's about pictures.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, other pictures or moving pictures. And so, for me, it's like my business, no man is an island. That's what no man, I have to, there's some things I have to attach to. But in your own case, right, you are continuously even investing. You're not thinking, this is getting tough. Everybody, the photographer, everyone thinks they're the expert.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're expert. Then the AI, we're now moving to tomorrow, right? And now the AI is making. Now I don't even need. Who's Kelechi? I don't need Kelechi now. I just say ChatGPT, please. I'm taking a picture of X, Y, Z. Here this picture. How can I say? How are you how we position ourselves for that?
I have looked.
Are you using AI as well? In the world of where everyone's not becoming a subject matter expert. Before, when you think about yesterday, it was only a few people that were taking pictures. You had to have a dark room. You had to have time. You had to have this. Then today, everyone has a camera.
Yes.
Then they've now brought AI. What's tomorrow going to bring?
There's something interesting, It's just that it's happening fast, super fast in this generation. But both photography and storytelling has always evolved. Before, it was people sitting around the fire under the tree. And that was all the story.
Till by moonlight.
Yeah, that was all, some old man telling stories,
It's funny. I have a picture of my father and me and Chekizi then in Lupiju. there was no light, and then we'll just sit with that lamp, you know,
Yeah.
just a kerosene lamp, and we'll just sit with our stools,
And
and he would just be telling you a story. Yeah, and I mean, that time just went.
that was powerful in those days. But what that has replaced that now is the phone.
Yeah.
And each time any of this changing come, there will be a speculation that one is dead because of the other has risen. When before photography, if you wanted a portrait, you had to go through a rigorous sitting process.
Painting.
A painter will come and say, "Oh, please, Mr. Kelechi, just keep your head a little to the left.
Yes.
Let's stay like that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Better. Okay, let's come back tomorrow." And you would do that countless times. I mean, until the man has finished, he said, "Okay, I think we're good with your head now. I will bring a double to wear the same cloth so I can paint your body. So you can, if you're a rich man, you can carry on with your life."
Amazing.
That was so much wahala. So when the camera came and could make an instant picture, they said, "Oh, painting is dead."
Mm-hmm. But it's true.
It's done. I'm finished. If any painter now, you're finished. Just find another job.
Yeah.
That was what then led to this new movement of impressionism, abstract expressionism, and all that. Painters now started saying, "Oh, we're not trying to copy, we're trying to express ourselves." You understand? And that gave painting a different sort of discovery. It led to a different discovery. When TV came out, they said radio was finished. Forget it. Who will be listening to radio when you can watch TV? Little did people know that, look, while listening to stuff, you can multitask. It's a completely different genre. When the car came out, they say horses are all the people.
I know, as you say this about paintings, I'm just thinking about Artex.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest calendar items in Nigeria.
Yes.
Right? And who would have thought? And what is that? It's just a collection of African, Nigerian, and then African, and then now global art. Like expressions.
So what is happening now with photography, AI, is this thing has just, I'm talking about 5 years old of AI, the way it's moving. What it means is that perfection is no longer interesting. A perfect photograph. I made this picture of one of my clients, her birthday, I lit it, everything, put everything. It was beautiful. Somebody made a comment saying, "Man, this thing looks like AI." No, that wasn't a compliment. So I quickly posted the behind the scenes video.
Exactly.
When I said, you see it.
The journey to the perfect picture.
So this picture, I made it too perfect. Okay, no, next one we'll just leave some pimples or something.
I wish it exactly.
So at the end of the day,
perfection is imperfect.
Perfection becomes a problem.
Perfect, yes.
Because it is everywhere. It is cheap. All you need is a few prompts. Then it loses value. So people are now looking for something that you cannot get anywhere.
Yeah.
And that thing is self. The essence of you, the brewing of your soul, your persona, your story, your history, that thing that makes you unique can never be created by AI. It's a much more complicated thing. It is in your DNA. It's a combination of experiences and relationships. So people are looking for relationship. People are looking for that authenticity. You see, now music is in my ear with a pod. There is not even a wire. Something is playing the music, and I'm enjoying it at its highest fidelity, clean, right? But I'll still go and pay to watch that same artist play the music imperfectly.
Exactly. So I mean, like, you're still investing. So, like, for you, where do you see in terms of being different? What value do you add to society?
Yes.
And I call these technologies, I call them, they're like the wind.
Yes.
You either sail with it,
yes,
use it,
yes,
or not go against it, right? But don't use it to completely without having levers to stop yourself or to steer that. Right? So how do you do that? Because I mean, like you said, and you said interestingly, painting is still
Oh,
here.
It's still there.
And it's now even
More powerful.
More powerful. So that it's actually not more powerful because people are now using it to express their humanity.
That is it.
And so there is now a place for humanity.
Oh,
like
yes.
how can you show humanity from a picture?
This thing you're saying now is the same. A few years ago, people were asking this question. Mr. K, now that everybody has these high resolution phones, everybody has a camera. So there'll be no need for a photographer. I said, yes. There are some photographers there will be no need for.
Exactly.
They will lose their job instantly.
Because they don't have.
Have you noticed something? Maybe you haven't, but I have noticed it. When I go to a certain class of events, I cannot see those quack photographs.
In fact, you're so right. In fact, I'm so happy about that.
They were solving a particular problem. Let me tell you the problem they were solving. You go to the event, somebody takes your picture and gives you a print. So you say, oh, this is a memory of this event. They were trying to be a little instant, but they were a bit too aggressive and all that. So they sort of bothered you. They took your picture without your consent and tried to collect money from you, even though you don't like the picture.
You don't like the picture.
You know?
And help me.
But what ended up happening with the smartphones was that the resolution of those phones and the quality of AI inside the phone doing internal editing already looks far better than their pictures. And then as you're taking the picture, you're already sharing it with your family.
Immediately.
Wirelessly.
Yes.
So that rendered their business dead instantly. So at a certain level, whenever there is change, some people will lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Instantly. If they do not move ahead, if they do not move further. But you know the funny thing? I build a set at your show, at your event.
Yes.
And I'm making portraits of the people that came to your event. And people want to pay for that.
Yeah.
It is still me taking pictures of people at an event.
Yes. But
I'm taking it my own way.
Yeah.
With my own perception of how so each picture you take on my set becomes my way of seeing you.
And you know, like what you say is so profound because in the end, a photographer is not a robot. It is a person that has exposure, experiences, so he's bringing his own perspective.
That is the creative
to help you tell your own story.
That is it.
Yeah, and so okay, and which is what I always tell people sometimes is that if I do a presentation, which really is a moving picture.
Yes.
What do you want the audience to to go with?
Exactly.
So when they leave that place, what is the feeling? What is the mood?
Yes.
That's those pack guys, right? They're just data.
Exactly.
They're just taking data. There's no information there. There's no personality. There's nothing there. Yeah.
So that is for me what will endure. I tell photographers, I tell artists and artisans, work more on yourself than you work on your craft. It is a becoming. It is your craft needs to reflect you. So it is a means. The camera, lighting, all these things, they are means of telling stories.
Yeah.
But to tell a story, you need to have something, some experience. You need to have some knowledge of what you want to say. Now, if you know how to mix words very well, then you know the technicalities of writing. You know your tenses, you know brackets, you've read Tolstoy, you've read everything.
Yeah.
But if you do not ponder on life and have an opinion about life, then you'll be a very good copywriter for advertising. You'll be anonymous. Yeah. You will do very good work. If they put you there, you will earn a good living. But your name will never be heard. Maybe they'll give you an award as a copywriter in the advertising world. Or you'll be a ghostwriter for other people's biographies. Yeah. But then, let me finish. Yeah. If you do have an opinion about life, you've thought deeply about change, then you will write things fall apart. You become Chinua Achebe.
Yes.
That is an opinion about the effects of colonialism. Yeah. And people are reading a fiction, and it is so real to them it starts to make them realize this is what is wrong with us.
And the beauty about that is that, and those stories remain relevant through the ages, through the generations.
Yes.
You can pick up, like when I think of, I think for me, great stories are generational. And so when people ask me, who's your favorite artist, like ever? And I always say someone like Michael Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't understand how my Gen Alpha daughter still knows the lyrics.
Exactly.
To a guy that was older than I was.
Yes.
Right? They tell me that
Powerful.
very powerful. And so, when I think of pictures, and why I think so, like before, as we close that, civilization started with communication. The communication of civilization was just stories, the Egyptians, those hieroglyphics.
Exactly.
And I think that communication is less writing now, more pictures, more visuals. Right? So for you, when I think about the perfect picture as we close over, I have my own view. To you, tomorrow, what is the perfect picture?
For me, again, there is no such thing as perfection.
Yes.
That's it. Every piece of work is quite subjective.
Yeah.
And it is a combination for me personally. I like to be able to have visual impact, which is that the image should be able to stop people in its visuality. But then added to that is the intrinsic message of the picture. If you combine those two, sometimes the message itself can become even more powerful than the visual impact of the image. You understand? And that could elevate it. A very imperfect image with a very strong message could be elevated into mastery.
Yeah. Which is exactly, that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking, what's my perfect picture as well, like in the future, and that's one, the perfect picture that tells the story.
Yes.
And and it goes back to that whole, the picture tells 1,000 words.
Yes.
Yes. Until
we
can go on this forever. Well, Kelechi, thank you for
it's been fun.
For painting, for talking with me about the perfect picture. And we haven't gotten there yet because nobody knows tomorrow. And really, a perfect picture is always about perspective.
We're always in search.
Yeah, always in search. Yeah, the quest for the perfect picture.
Exactly.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.